got a lot of weaves to wend in. Ooh. Hey guys, I'm Kristen Lair, also known as Voolenvine, and welcome to my channel about primarily knitting, sewing, and making all the things in Brooklyn, New York. I am also the hand dyer behind Voolenvine Yarns, my hand-dyed yarn company, and thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys are excited to find out what I've been working on, what I've been making. And I'm gonna try and keep this episode just a little bit shorter than usual because my friends, Rhinebeck is this weekend. And before I let this weekend's festivities hijack my focus, I've just got to get some ducks in a row before the fun begins. So yeah, I have a shop update that I'm trying to prepare for. I have to tidy because Laura, my friend, is coming to stay with me. And I want to get a podcast out for you guys. Not that I'm an insane workaholic. I actually look forward to podcasting. This is my happy time. So, you know, I wanted to get my fun in before more fun begins. That's my excuse. And if you are not familiar, Rhinebeck is a sheep and wool festival that happens in the state of New York. And I am so lucky enough to actually live in New York where it's easy for me to get there pretty much every single year. So I want to say this is the 10th, this might be the 9th or 10th year that I'm going to Rhinebeck in a row, which is insane. But yeah, again, I'm just so lucky enough to live in New York where it's easy for me to get to there. And I know it's not an option for a lot of knitters out there, but hopefully you will be able to live vicariously through some of the vlog footage that I'm going to be taking over the weekend. So yes, I am going to be vlogging like a mad woman at Rhinebeck, so I hope you're looking forward to that. I'm actually compiling a little checklist for myself as far as like what I want to bring because we're spending the night. So yeah, of course there's what knitting projects I'm bringing, what outfits I'm going to be bringing, what, you know, little basics and necessities, but the other stuff is like a long list of camera gear and the like, so it's a little intense. But anyway, I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing it. So yes, if you are going and you happen to see me or Laura or Emily, whoever I'm wandering around with, and you see us, don't be shy, come up, say hello, you will be hugged because I love giving hugs, and anyone that watches the podcast, I would love to hug you. So anyway, do come up, say hello, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's my Rhinebeck spiel at the top of the episode. But moving along, other things that I wanted to talk about, Vlogtober. Vlogtober is happening. It's not my Vlogtober game is not strong. It's just a fun video challenge that a lot of knitters are partaking in, and you know, I'm not putting pressure on myself to do a video every single day. I've just been uploading videos whenever I have time to edit and record, so it's making it a lot more manageable, and I hope you guys have been enjoying my Vlogtober series. I have a lot of fun editing the videos and putting them out there, so so far the feedback's been great, and you know, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, so, you know, I wanted to put out a video yesterday, and I had the edit all ready to go, and then my computer ate my video. Murphy's Law, my friends, Murphy's Law. I think that is it. I have a couple knitting projects to share with you, some shop update info, and a blather segment where I chat about what's been happening in my life, should you care to stick around. But in the meantime, let's move on to what I've been making this week. But first, just a quick word from my awesome sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes in design, business, tech, and more, even sewing and the fiber arts. As you know, I'm improving my photo skills and doing so by binge watching photography classes on Skillshare. And because I know you love learning new things too, I partnered up with Skillshare and they are offering my viewers 2 months free to try their platform. So give Skillshare a go and learn something new. Just click on the link in the description box below, entering the code at checkout, and enjoy. And thanks, Skillshare. Okay guys, let's talk whips, works in progress. I don't have any finished objects this week. I know I was talking about last week how I thought I would be able to finish my Throwback Cardigan, a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It didn't happen because another pattern whittled its way into my heart, but you know, I picked it back up again and I'm making progress, you know? And not, again, loving this pattern to death, but my attention span sometimes, when I see ooh shiny, I have to go for that sometimes and work on what my heart wants to work on. So that's kind of how I justify it. But yeah, the Throwback Cardigan by Andrea Mowry. Here is where I am. Sleeve Island. Sleeve Island #1. making some progress on it. A word about the sleeves. This is about the third or fourth cardigan that I've knit. Okay, so most garments, most sweaters, jumpers, cardigans have sleeve shaping. Like after you're done knitting the body, you cast on the sleeves or pick up stitches for the sleeves. And then as you're knitting the sleeves, it starts out wide and then tapers off to fit around your wrist. I've noticed when I shape my sleeves, it ends up being way too tight. So my, as I like to use the analogy, you know, knitted sleeves end up becoming like sausage casings for my arms. So same thing happened with this. And again, nothing to do with the pattern, but a lovely viewer pinged me on Instagram. They replied to one of my Instagram stories and pointed out that the same thing happens to her, where her gauge tightens when she knits magic loop as opposed to knitting flat. And it never dawned on me to think of that. And it makes perfect sense because I am knitting these sleeves magic loop, US 6 4.0 millimeter needles, in case you're curious. But yeah, I don't know why that never occurred to me, but it makes absolutely perfect sense because the rest of the cardigan is knit flat. So yeah, your gauge is going to be one way that way because you're knitting one row and purling the next row. But then when you switch to magic loop knitting in the round, you're just doing stockinette around and around and around and around, just plain knit stitch. And it makes perfect sense that the gauge will be tighter. So yeah, the more you know, Q Shooting Star, and I'm so sorry I'm blanking on your name, but thank you for pointing that out. And she also suggested that I try going up a needle size. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to do that because I'm already well into Sleeve Island. But for the future, I think when I knit the sleeves, and I do magic loop, I'm going to go up a needle size just to kind of, you know, counteract or balance out the gauge, if that makes sense. So anyway, thank you so much for that. But yeah, I guess I can try it on and show you guys. Got a lot of weaves to wend in. It looks like that I'm going to have a lot of ends to weave in at some point, but you know, hey, that's how it goes sometimes. But here is the sleeve. I only decreased 6 stitches. The pattern calls for more decreases, but again, if I were to do all those decreases, it would just be pure sausage casing, and I really don't want that. I want a nice comfy fit. Even this is kind of pushing it. I think I'm just gonna leave it. I'm going to leave it because it's not too tight at the moment, and I'm just going to knit the rest straight. And when I get to my wrist, I'm going to decrease to the stitch count, like just rapid decrease around in the round to what the final stitch count can be. So it kind of gets that nice little, I don't want to call it like a mushroom effect on the sleeve, and then the ribbing. So anyway, this is going to be a super cozy cardi, and yeah, just really relaxing to knit on. And it's like after you get past the color work part, it's just plain mindless stockinette, and you can relax. You don't have to focus on it, and just enjoy knitting and watching podcasts, hang out with friends. You know, there's no shaping at all. So yeah, highly recommend this pattern. It's the Throwback by Andrea Mowry. And I think when I'm at Rhinebeck, I'm gonna be hunting for some more yarn to knit a second one. Just little, you know, this is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. Again, nothing wrong with Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. It's really great workhorse budget yarn. It got each skein on sale for $1.99 US, which you cannot go wrong with. However, I really do want a second version of this, so I might be on the prowl for some really nice special yarn at Rhinebeck. So yay, that is my throwback cardigan. Yes. So, moving along, as I mentioned last week, I cast on a new project using my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine yarns, in my Smitten DK base. And this looks super tiny, you guys. I'm knitting the second size up. So there's an extra small and a small, and then a couple sizes above that. I'm knitting the small size. And it looks super tiny, but this is going to stretch out so much. But this is the Radiate pullover by Joji Locatelli. And I dyed this yarn last week. These are 2 new colorways that I dyed up. This kind of lavender peachy pink color is called Shallow Grave. And this bluish teal below here is Deadly Nightshade. And I don't know if you can see, but it's got a lot of kind of like tiny orange golden flecks of speckles, and yeah, just so you can see it up close. So yeah, you guys, I am so in love with this pattern. I could not put it down. I banged out the yoke over the weekend. And just to reiterate, this is not brioche. It looks like brioche, but really it's just knits and purls and the occasional slip stitch and increase. And it's a brilliant pattern. So again, definitely recommend it. And I posted something on Instagram about how I'm alternating skeins every single row. When it comes to knitting with hand-dyed yarns, I strongly recommend alternating skeins, because if you do happen to get two different skeins from two different dye lots, and let's say you're knitting straight from the cake and you run out of yarn and you join the same colorway from a different skein of yarn and you continue on knitting from that cake, you might run the risk of noticing an abrupt change in shade, because those two skeins might have been from two different dye lots. That's just how hand-dyed yarn generally works. So you know, I always recommend alternating skeins every 1 to 3 or 5 rows, just to kind of you know, mix things up a little bit. It also prevents pooling and flashing, which are, sometimes those are desired effects when it comes to knitting. I know a lot of sock knitters love the flashing effect or the pooling effect. It makes them look like really kind of psychedelic almost. So, however, when it comes to knitting garments, me personally, that's not an effect that I want. So that's why I alternate skeins every other row. And you can see, let me see. So this is what it looks like on the wrong side. I just have this really nice, I want to say twisted line. And this is where you can see where I alternated skeins at the beginning of the row. And on the other side, a lot of people commented, yeah, you can see that there is kind of like a faint little seam going up the side. And I think that will block out. You know, after I wet block this is going to even out significantly. And I'll explain to you in a second how I minimized that seam. However, thank you to everyone who commented on that photo. They suggested the helix method of alternating skeins, and that is something that I'm going to look up, because apparently that completely eliminates this seam on the right side. Thankfully, the seam is under the arm, so it won't be too noticeable, but at the same time, I'm definitely going to check out this helix method of alternating skeins. And yeah, so thank you so much for that. However, if you want to do it this way, the way I alternate skeins, and I'm going to try and explain it as best as I can, when you come to the beginning of the row, you want to drop the strand that you were just working with and then reach under that strand and grab the strand from the last row and bring that up and continue knitting on. However, for the best way to eliminate that line that seam line on the right side, when you knit that first stitch, you want to stop and then just kind of like tug each strand, the last strand that you were using and then the new strand that you're using. Knit about maybe 2 more stitches and then kind of tug your work to kind of like pull it back into place. That should like smooth things out a little bit. I hope that made sense, but that's what I've been using. That's what I've been doing for this project. The crazy lady in my head thought that she could finish this in time for Rhinebeck. Of course, that would never be possible with my schedule and everything. Just, yeah, it was not in the cards, and I wasn't expecting to finish it, but I was like, there is a possibility, because once you're done with the yoke, it's all stockinette, just like the throwback cardigan. It's just pure stockinette in the round. I think there's a little bit of shaping, but, you know, yeah. I think the method to my madness here was just for me to have something to work on at Rhinebeck, so plow through the yoke and then just have a sea of stockinette to work on while I'm at Rhinebeck, hanging out with friends, chatting, etc. But then I did think that I was going to finish the throwback. I don't think that's in the cards. However, this might be the project that's going to come with me just because it's still lightweight, whereas the throwback cardigan right now is relatively, you know, a little heavy, and I definitely want to be traveling light when I go up to Rhinebeck, because Laura and I will be taking the train and we're going to have bags and, yeah, anyway. We're trying to travel as light as possible, so anyway, that is where I am with that. Yeah, so this will be coming with me to Rhinebeck. I'm going to be knitting on the body, and then of course, while my sock mojo is pretty much non-existent, I am going to be bringing a sock with me just because I was watching Amy of the Stranded Dye Works podcast. If you haven't watched her podcast, where have you been? But anyway, yeah, she was talking about bringing a sock too, because socks seem to be the go-to project when you're hanging out with friends. You know, it's just something small and portable, and you don't have to think too much about it, and you can still be knitting anyway. So this is coming with me, a sock's coming with me, and just bags to bring yarn home, I guess. But yeah, anyway, the yarn, again, is my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine Yarns, Smitten DK, which is my superwash merino nylon cashmere base. I will not be having any Smitten DK in this week's update, but I will be having some in the following update next weekend. So yes, more on that in the shop update segment. Okay guys, so no sewing again this week. I know it's been several weeks since I've had a decent sewing segment. My sewing mojo has not dwindled. It's just I have to prioritize you know, what I've been working on leading up to Rhinebeck. I wanted to make sure that my Rhinebeck sweater was done, which is my Belmont cardigan. I'll pop a photo of it here so you can see what cardigan what I'll be wearing to Rhinebeck, because yes, I do have an ensemble, and I have to decide what else I'm gonna wear for Indie Entangled, because I am going to Indie Entangled as well. I was able to get a ticket for the 3 o'clock slot, so they have different tiers as far as you know, because it was so up until last year, Indie Entangled has become so popular that it's been virtually impossible for people to shop, and have a pleasant shopping experience. It was just so crowded, so crazy, and this year they've gotten a bigger venue, so yay! And they've split the tickets up into tiers. So there's a group of people that are going shopping at, I believe, 1 o'clock, then another group of people then they have to leave, and then another group coming in at 3, then that's my group. I'm going in at 3 to 5, and then we have to leave, and then the next tier of people come in, and then, you know, they stagger it. So it's not ideal in my mind, but, you know, if that's what they have to do to make it work, and, you know, to make it a safe and enjoyable, pleasurable shopping experience, then by all means. I'm curious to see how it's going to go down. I have high hopes. So, but yeah, if you do see me wandering around, again, just come up, say hello. And yeah, that'll be really awesome. This is going to be a very short episode, guys. But before I get into the shop update segment, for the Ask Me Anything segment, is not a question from the Ask Me Anything thread, which, by the way, if you would like me to answer a question on the podcast, you can hop over to the Voolenvine Ravelry group and leave a question in the Ask Me Anything thread. Once a week, I'll try and grab a question from that thread and answer it on the podcast, or I'll answer it right there. But this week I have a question for you. So yeah, how often does that happen? I don't know. But anyway, I would just like to pose a question, because I was toying with the idea. In general, I like keeping these episodes as short as possible for my own sanity, and because I know I want to be respectful of your time. Me personally, I appreciate a podcast episode that's under 30 minutes, because let's face it, I don't have all the time in the world, and I can't always dedicate a full hour to sitting down in one go and watching a podcast. So I like to be respectful of your time and keep these episodes under 30 minutes. 20 minutes would be great. And I'm wondering if it would make more sense for me to make the shop update segment its own separate standalone video. So I would be publishing 2 videos a week, so the main podcast, and then a separate shop update episode. So those of you that are interested in my yarns and want to hop in on the shop update can have your own video to see what's going to be in the shop every week. So let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Should I keep it all one video, one concise video, or split them up? Make the shop update its own standalone video and have a separate main content podcast, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave them in the comments below. And yeah, anyway, so thank you so much for helping me out. If, you know, help me help you. Speaking of shop update, I am going to have a shop update. I know it's Rhinebeck weekend, but I did not want to leave you guys hanging, especially those of you attending Rhinebeck. Rhinebeck as in those of you who can't go to Rhinebeck and are sitting home whining about it. I still wanted you to be able to partake in some wool piggery, shameless wool piggery over the weekend. And so, yeah, I am doing a small shop update, and I'm going to have all of your favorite new Halloween-inspired colorways that I came out with last week. Those will be all dyed on my Wolke base, my fingering merino nylon cashmere base, and my Nouveau base, which is a fingering superwash merino single ply yarn. And I do not have the yarn in person here to share with you, so I'm going to pop some yummy photos on the screen so you know which colors I'm talking about. But yeah, last week I introduced some new fun Halloween-inspired colorways, and you guys, thank you so much for the wonderful reception of those. Seems like you guys really like them. That makes me so happy. So yeah, I had a lot of fun coming up with them. I have a new colorway that I came up with this week, but I'm just gonna pop on the screen here what those colorways are. I will have some more Deadly Nightshade and Shallow Grave. And in case you're wondering, these are the colors that I'm currently using in my Radiate pullover by Joji Locatelli. And then I will also have, by popular demand, I decided to make Pumpkin Kombucha a shop regular. Yay! So the tribe has spoken. I'm really excited about that. So yay, more pumpkin kombucha. And as if 3 new Halloween colorways weren't enough, I came out with a 4th and lovingly call that one Haunted AF. And if you're wondering what AF stands for, Haunted as because I thought it was hilarious. So anyway, and those will be the 4 colorways in this weekend's shop update. Again, the shop update will be this Saturday, October 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you guys can make it. I will, of course, be sending out a newsletter letting you know all the details. However, if you do place an order, which, by the way, thank you so much. It's always appreciated. And you decide to email me after your order if you have a question, please allow for the next business day on Monday, because I will be traveling and I won't have great access to internet service or email. So, you know, if you do email me or try to get in touch, just expect a reply regarding your order on Monday. So thank you. Yeah. And again, you can always sign up for the newsletter by going to my website, voolenvineyarns.com, and clicking the link at the top of the page. And every week in your mailbox, your inbox, you will get a newsletter letting you know what bases, what colors are in the shop, and any news revolving around Voolenvine yarns. So yeah, that is it for shop update. Okay guys, so this is the Blather segment where I chat about what's been happening in my life. Should you care to stick around? Not too much guys. I've just been, again, trying to get all my ducks in a row before I head up to Rhinebeck tomorrow. Again, Laura is coming to stay with me. She's coming today, so you know, just trying to tidy up, making sure that she's, you know, all set when she gets here. Then tomorrow morning, we're all gonna head up to Rhinebeck by train. So it's gonna be a journey of sorts. So yeah, once we get to Rhinebeck, we're gonna go to our hotel, drop all our stuff off, and then head up to India Entangled. So I can't believe it's tomorrow, guys. I can't believe it. It's gonna be so much fun. Did I say it's gonna be so much fun? Anyway, I'm just really looking forward to, you know, taking some vlog footage, getting photos, and yeah, being able to share that with you guys when I get back. So, yeah, Rhinebeck. I don't know what more to say about Rhinebeck. I know those of you who can't make it are probably like, shut up about Rhinebeck already. Okay, I will. Moving along. What else have I to say? Instagram stories. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed I've been active on the Instagram stories lately. I'm trying to get better at doing Instagram stories because, again, they seem like so much fun, but I will be totally honest, when it comes to being live on camera or on the spot, I just kind of clam up and ball up. I'm not very good at being on the spot when it comes to those things. It's just a little nerve-wracking, which is why I think I tend to do more like photo text-based Instagram stories. It takes a little bit of the edge off. But I really do want to get better at doing them. Yeah, another reason why I'm really awkward about Instagram stories or don't do them, like ones where I'm actually talking to the camera, is because I don't know if when you watch this podcast, you notice a lot of jump cuts in my edits. It can be a little choppy, I will admit. Well, that's because I am editing out a lot of ums and ahs and grammatical blunders and spaces where I just don't know what to say. I know I'm not trying to be a perfectionist or anything, but just for my own sanity, it's like I try to cut out a lot of air and a lot of dead space, and as a video editor, that's just how my brain works. And you know, I yeah, anyway, I think I overanalyze it a little bit too much, and I really shouldn't, but just trying to have fun at the end of the day. So hopefully my Instagram stories will become more frequent and less awkward. But anyway, yeah. So that is, I think, pretty much it for the episode. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. I'll be back next week with hopefully a Rhinebeck recap for you guys. Bella, you want to say hello? She's in her egg. I don't know if you can see it, but she's got like this little egg hut. It's like a little hollowed out egg that she kind of sits in and sleeps in. It's so cute. But anyway, I've got some work to do. I've got some errands to run. So I will leave it there. Again, thank you so much for hanging out. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe below. Show notes for this episode can be found in the description box below. And as always, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment and join the Voolenvine Ravelry group. It's the place to be if you want to partake in our knit-alongs and our make-alongs and just general banter discussion around the podcast. Happy knitting. I will see you next time. Bye. Mwah.